My bad. I had it looped still.
You're good.
Thank you guys for tuning in to Tyler Today Live. I am joined today by TJ Rainman. I know him from the Timcast Discord. We got a few stories we can get into today. But Rainman, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Tarek. I go by TJ Rainman in the Discord, and I don't know. I'm just some guy. I try to stay pretty plugged into what's going on. I try to think through things fairly objectively, and I don't know. Sometimes I got some weird thoughts on some things, so I don't know. We'll dive in and we'll see what we got.
Awesome. Sounds good. Glad to have you on today. Yesterday I did the show by myself, which I managed to go almost the whole hour talking to myself, but it's definitely a lot easier to have someone to, bounce back and forth with for a live show. I feel like it's a little bit more entertaining that way.
Yeah, I
So
talk to myself all day, all the time. So
oh, got to, right? I mean, who else is there to talk to? But thank you for coming on. And
of course.
let's see, what story should we get into first today? I think we should talk about this story we got from the Insider Wire. There's a bunch of Democrats that decided to put out the same exact video, and it's like word for word. So let me see. So we have this pulled up here. Let me make sure the audio is turned down because it is loud as hell. So let me see. Make sure the audio is turned down. Okay. Right there. Okay. Hopefully that's not too loud. Let me put it in full screen and restart the video. Okay. So this is a video put out by a few, I believe, senators. We'll look at the comments after this, but just look at this video.
I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
Word for word. That's crazy.
Are each of them saying the same thing right now?
Yeah.
So I know that there was the old video in the past that was the local channels being like,
Yeah,
"This
it's
is a
the
threat to our
news.
democracy" or something like that. And
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
no,
seems like they're almost given a template and just plug and play on the template.
essentially, yeah. So the Insider Wire says 22 Democrat senators were just caught using the same script and clips word for word. So it's a little hard to hear because it just sounds like, Finding Nemo. Mine.
Right.
But no, this is just funny. I mean, like, how hard is it to come up with your own words? Like, you could, if you're gonna put out a memo being like, okay, here's our talking points for the day. Everyone put out a video. Could you not like twist it and make it your own? You have to do it word for word.
And is that the actual tactic that they want to use, or is it just a are they being lazy? Like they get the talking points and then just read through it as if it's a script and not just the talking points. Like
I mean, that could be a possibility too, right? It could just be like, here's the memo. Everyone make a video. Here's the what we want you guys to say, and then all of them just like, all right, word for word, because I don't do any actually work as a politician, and and then let's see.
but at the same time, like how many people, if this compilation wasn't put together, how many people would only see from like just their local senator? And so they still get the message, but they're only seeing one of them. You know what I mean? Is it intended for people to only see, you know?
Well, I'm sure like a lot of their audiences intersect, right? So like if one of them put out a video and then they see the same exact video from another person, like are they not going to question that? Like I don't know, I don't see the benefit in something like this. And is it really that hard to like not like can you not make it your own? Can you not be like, okay, here's what they want me to say. I'm going to turn it into my own little spiel and put a video out.
Yeah, I wonder if they did make it their own and they slipped up and said something slightly incorrect, well then they're ostracized from the cult because they stepped out of bounds or something like that. So maybe they're just playing it safe and doing what
Playing
they're
it safe.
told because they have to all walk in lockstep, or march
I
in
mean,
lockstep.
that's not a bad assumption there. I mean, they definitely don't like to step out of line because typically when they do, they get squashed. So
And
that definitely makes sense. But so
which
the
22 Democrats are these? Like, are these like some of the prominent
apparently it's up to 23 now.
makers? 23, sure.
The-
The video
yeah,
came out and
updated.
one more's like, I got to get on the trend.
Oh shit, I'm late. I don't know. It looks like Elizabeth Warren, Chuck Schumer, some of the usual suspects.
Okay.
I don't recognize some of these other ones. but just the usual Democrats you normally see.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was curious if it was like some of the wave makers or if it was just like the people who fly under the radar who were just called in to, you know, play their role real quick. But if it is some of the bigger names or whatever, then that theory's sort of out the window, I guess.
what I want to know and what these posts are highlighting is who's giving them the script. That's what I want to know is who's handing these out, being like, okay, say these words, put a video online. A lot of people are jumping to the conclusion that it's Soros, which maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but definitely really weird because it's definitely someone. It's definitely coming from somebody. If they're all saying the exact same thing, word for word, it can't be just a coincidence at that point.
Right. I mean, aren't there like different group chats with all sorts of different like lead Democrats and all this kind of stuff? Like it could just be their community, like their own little Discord community that comes up with a plan and then they all jump into action, you know, like
Man, imagine if that
Telegram
ever got
groups or
leaked.
whatever it
It's just a
was.
Democrat senator Discord, just all this, all the
Well,
stuff
I
you
mean,
find there.
like, what about all of the people who just got in trouble for all the sex chats in the FBI channel or
Yep.
whatever? You
No,
know,
you
it's
you're right. You're
same
definitely
same
right.
sort of concept, different area. You know what I mean?
No, that's true. They could have some back channels where they're all like communicating. It's just I still find it. I'm still hung up on the part where like you can't make it your own. You can't like I don't know. Like it's not that hard to just sit in front of a camera and talk about like you and I right now. Like we have a thing that we want to talk about. Here we are just talking about it. Is it really that hard? Especially if you're someone where your whole entire job is to talk to people and be like a figurehead for them, and you can't even like talk in front of a camera for a minute.
Right. You don't even give your own thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know, absolutely ridiculous. But speaking of Senate Democrats, we'll go ahead and jump to this next story unless you have anything else you want to add.
No, no, that's
All right, so let's
interesting content though. Hey, you can't hear my dog like
no, I got
nine from
no.
the
You're
other room.
you're
All right.
good. So we have this one. This is a trend on X right now. Senate Democrats block bill to exclude transgender athletes from women's sports. The U.S. Senate recently saw a procedural vote on the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, which sought to prevent biological males from participating in women's sports. The bill failed to advance after all 45 Democrat senators opposed it, not reaching the necessary 60 votes. This decision has fueled a robust discussion online, with many arguing it undermines the fairness and safety of women's sports. Critics have cited instances where male athletes have physically dominated and occasionally injured female competitors, emphasizing the physical disparities. Public opinion, as reflected by recent polls, shows that a majority of Americans, including a significant portion of Democrats, support such exclusions. The vote has been labeled by some as a disregard for women's rights, leading to demands for political accountability in future elections. As many of you know, Donald Trump did sign an executive order to prevent males from being in female sports. But I'm pretty sure what this was supposed to be was basically codifying it in law. So that way, when we get the next Democrat in office, he doesn't just revoke it like Trump did with a lot of Biden's things that they didn't codify. But I don't know. I don't know how this is still an issue at this stage. I don't understand how Democrats are just okay with males in female sports. There's a clear disparity between the two. I would advocate at this point for a third category where if men and women want to compete directly against each other, go for it. And trans people can be in that category too. But women should have their own space to compete against actual women.
And I think that it's a fairly like I feel a majority of people agree with that. Like there was the big push for it. No, it's not happening. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. But you know, when we're looking at it, when it's getting up to the level of like Congress and stuff like that, or the Senate, and
Yeah.
well,
Well, I mean, we have this video in the thread from the libs of TikTok. Giant male in MA. Where's MA? Is that Missouri? Or no? Wait, I forget which state that is. But anyway, school injured three girls during a basketball match. They ended the game early before he can hurt more girls and had to forfeit the game due to injuries. Every single Democrat senator just voted against keeping men out of women's sports. Democrats don't care about your daughter's safety. And then you can see in the video here, I'll just widescreen it.
yeah, pretty
And
sure that was from a fair few months ago. Pretty sure we've seen that. but it has new relevancy
Right.
with the vote. But my question is like,
And you can see that that dude is much larger than the other women, or not other women. My bad. The women. He's much larger than the women there, and he literally just yanked that ball out of that woman's hands.
I mean, they weren't throwing any bows, elbows, or anything like that.
But there have been cases of that,
Yeah,
definitely. You know, I'm sure women do it to other women, but when it's a male doing it, it's definitely gonna have some more force behind it.
I mean, hats off to the girl who got injured for still getting in there and fighting.
Right, yeah, but, I mean, the coach did end up forfeiting. They did forfeit the game because, there were 3 girls that got injured, and at that point, I don't know how the referee is not, like, just ending the game. You're like, "Alright, you guys are injuring the other team, like, we can't we can't continue."
Right. Respect to the coach for kind of standing up for the moral beliefs.
No, no, I don't think. Oh yeah, the coach. Sorry, I thought you meant the ref. I would hope that the ref would have stepped in and be like, all right, that's not cool.
Right.
Uh, but I don't know. Like I said, I still don't understand how this is an issue that Democrats are fighting for. But at the same time, I don't. You know, I'm kind of fine with Democrats arguing for this because this would just mean that they lose elections going forward.
It's true. And it seems to me as though it's just another example of marching in lockstep. Like none of them can, put their own logic and morals on the forefront. They have to vote the way that they've been told that they have to vote. They have to stand against the Trump, you know?
Yeah, and then let's see. Where there's a picture here. What is this? This is from Laura Ingram. 79% of Americans agree men don't belong in women's sports, yet every Senate Democrat just voted against protecting female athletes. They failed our daughters, our sisters, and future generations of women. Do you stand with protecting women's sports? Drop your thoughts below. And I also want to bring up a video I did recently. CNN interviewed a track athlete that identifies as a woman, and he's no longer allowed to compete against other women. And while he's being interviewed, he constantly refers to himself as a female, and I just find it interesting because the uh, the people that believe in that gender ideology stuff often say that sex and gender are different, and you can't change your sex. But then you have trans people that are trying to play against other women actively calling themselves female, which is a sex term.
Interesting.
And I don't know how I don't know how you get around that, because like I think gender is like, when people refer to gender nowadays, what they're typically referring to is personality. And Billboard Chris brings this up because when you ask them like, oh, what does it mean to be a different gender? Typically, what they say is like, they point to things that would be tied to someone's personality, the way they like to dress, the way they like to look, the way they act. Like that has to do with their personality, not necessarily their sex. There could be males that are more feminine. There could be females that are more masculine. That's just a part of their personality. That's not a part of their gender. But I don't know how it gets confused. I don't know how people get confused by that.
I think that like some people don't take the time to break down the semantics between sex and gender. They'll use the terms interchangeably, and that's kind of where a level of manipulation can take place. If people are trying to be tolerant and being like, okay, well, you can have the word gender and you can use that to express the way that you feel, but if we're going to be talking about sex, here's the terms that we'll use and here's the definition that we have for it, speaking more on biology or what have you. But then when people just casually use the terms interchangeably, it kind of allows the gender side to kind of claim, I don't know, like claim some of the framing from the people who are arguing for sex, I guess.
I get what you're saying. I think they do it on purpose, though, because they purposefully confuse people by correlating the two. When they're at this point, I mean, I used to say gender and sex are synonymous. I disagree with that now, because gender has become its own thing entirely, and that's why I think gender, the way it's used nowadays, is more synonymous with personality.
But that also just shows that like because I feel like a lot of people for the longest time saw gender and sex as synonymous. But over time, people have claimed control of this word. You know what I mean? To the point where you've ceded control of the word. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, now I'll accept the new definition for this word.
I mean,
Um,
words do change over time. I mean, there used to be a certain word I can't say on YouTube that we used to call a bundle of sticks, but
sure. I've
and
been a part of some like Halo 2, Halo 3 post game lobbies. I've heard
oh yeah,
all sorts of
some Modern Warfare lobbies and
yeah,
whatnot. Yeah, but words do change over time. To be fair, and if they want to change, if they want to separate gender from sex, at the end of the day, I don't care because then that just gives us more of a basis to say, okay, you want to separate the two, great. Guess what? I don't care what your gender is. I care what your sex is.
right.
You can be whatever gender. I care about what sex you actually are.
Separating the two does allow for greater clarity in communication. So
Yeah. Like I said, if they want to separate the two, that just gives more credence to the people saying, okay, well, you can't change your sex. Even most gender ideology people agree you cannot change your sex. So cool, you can't change your sex. We agree on that. That's the only thing I care about. I don't care about your gender. But yeah, I mean, I could talk about that all day, but we do have other stories. I don't know how you feel about the George Floyd case. What are your thoughts on George Floyd?
So I haven't heard too much of the new developments, but back when the case was ongoing, I was, trying to follow it fairly closely, trying to find all the nuances and details and stuff like that. And I was, I was really watching how people would, how do I word this? I don't know. They would you would instantly be attacked if you tried to bring up anything like you bring up the speedball or the fact that he asked to be
Put on
brought
the
out,
ground and
but be put on the ground. Like it's important to look at those things, but as soon as someone mentioned those facts of the case, you were immediately a racist and a bigot and all of this kind of stuff. And so,
yeah, nuance was not allowed
right,
during those discussions.
which led to the court case for Chauvin, where who was it that said that he wouldn't be able to get a fair trial anywhere in the state, so we might as well do it here or something like that?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I mean, because at that point, most people had already heard of the case. So it's like, how do you get a fair trial if people are already biased towards one way or another?
Right.
But
So what's the new deal?
the reason I bring it up is because we have a renewed what is it a renewed campaign, I guess is what they're calling it, for Derek Chauvin to be pardoned by Donald Trump. How would you feel about Derek Chauvin getting pardoned personally, but just based off what you know?
Um. Well, has he went through all of the appeals processes that he's legally offered? Like,
That's a good question. I believe he has. I'm pretty sure he lost the appeals. I could be wrong about that though. But I mean, me personally, I think he did in some ways do wrong, like the training that they have with kneeling on people to help hold them down. He showed up to the scene late. He didn't exactly know what was going on. He should have asked more questions before getting down on his back. But overall, I don't think he was ultimately responsible for the death of George Floyd. And he should have he should at least have his sentence lessened. I don't know about a full pardon, but I would be interested to see what Trump has to say about it, because
yeah, it's
obviously Trump would have more information than I have in front of me.
right, and it's difficult because you know there would be, I don't know, we'll call it the optics or whatever. There would be the optics of just like, oh, Trump pardoning some white guy or something like that when he
Yeah, no, I think the
like
left would go
Missouri,
crazy.
like
If,
the process played out, and it might not have played out the way that we think that it should. But I don't know. That's why I'm curious about all of the appeals processes, because like there has to be some point where someone takes a look at the facts and realizes that he shouldn't be in prison for as long as he is, or What charges did they actually get him on? Because didn't they
Um,
remove one of them, or
Yeah,
was
here
he?
I can ask Grok in just a moment, but we have this from a leading report. Daily Wire urges President Trump to immediately issue a pardon for Officer Derek Chauvin, who was convicted and is currently serving a 22 and a half year sentence for the murder of George Floyd and associated federal charges. Elon Musk responded to Ben Shapiro's video addressing the situation, saying something to think about. So that's why this is being talked about right now. I guess Ben Shapiro put out a video uh, saying that Trump should pardon him. So we actually do have a clip from Ben Shapiro, but it's a little bit long. Let's see. Well, we're still pretty
Just
early into the stream. I'll go ahead and play it.
cool. Just real quick, I do think that this is something that you know that I would need to think very heavily on and weigh a lot of different details about before you know just immediately shouting for a pardon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I support the consideration of it. I'm not sure if
So,
it is.
according to Grok, he was charged with, let's see, Derek Chauvin, a former Minneapolis police officer, was charged with multiple offenses in connection to the death of George Floyd on May 25th, 2020. Specifically, he was charged with second degree unintentional murder, third degree murder, and second degree manslaughter. Chauvin was convicted on all three accounts in April 20th, 2021. Following a widely publicized trial on June 25th, 2021, he was sentenced to 22 and a half years, with the sentences running concurrently. Additionally, in a separate federal case, Chauvin pleaded guilty in December 2021 to violating George Floyd's civil rights, for which he was sentenced to 21 years in prison on July 7th, 2022, to be served concurrently with his state sentence. So, what is that? 43 years, basically? He got 43 years.
Wow.
So these charges and outcomes reflect the legal proceedings as the latest updates. Let me know if you'd like to learn more details. Thank you, Grok. So I don't know. Let's hear what Ben Shapiro has to say. I don't know if I'll play the whole video, but let's see what he's
See if
talking
you can
about.
persuade me one way or another.
Yeah, let's see if he's got some interesting points.
If we are issuing pardons, however, there is one person that President Trump should pardon from federal charges forthwith. It would be incredibly controversial, but I think that it's absolutely necessary. That person is Derek Chauvin. President Trump should, in fact, pardon Derek Chauvin. He should. He should pardon him his federal charges. If we're talking about reversing the evils of the last several years in American life, obviously COVID and its handling was a massive evil. Destroyed the economy, set us on a path to fiscal insanity, destroyed children, led to massive health-related cover-ups, just horrifying all the way around. And President Trump has taken on a lot of those things. But when it came to BLM, the inciting event for the BLM riots that caused $2 billion in property damage in the United States and set America's race relations on their worst footing in my lifetime, was in fact the railroading of Derek Chauvin in the death of George Floyd. The evidence demonstrates that Derek Chauvin did not, in fact, commit murder of George Floyd. George Floyd was high on fentanyl. He had a significant pre-existing heart condition. George Floyd was saying he could not breathe before he was even out of the car. He was in the car saying he could not breathe. Derek Chauvin, for large segments of even the tape that was shown, had his knee on George Floyd's shoulder or back, not on his neck. The autopsy of George Floyd showed that he had no damage to his trachea, that probably George Floyd died of excited delirium. There were no accusations, even at trial, that Derek Chauvin had committed a hate crime against George Floyd or that he targeted George Floyd because of his race. Nonetheless, on the basis of extraordinarily scanty evidence, and despite the fact that there was massive pressure on the jury, that the mayor of Minneapolis paid a settlement to the George Floyd family immediately, that the president of the United States suggested that Derek Chauvin was guilty right off the bat, that the jurors were being openly threatened and admitted as much. Despite all of that, Derek Chauvin was convicted on federal charges and pled guilty to federal charges. Derek Chauvin should, in fact, be pardoned on that. We will be covering that a lot more in coming weeks because I think it.
So I don't know if that really convinced me. But what he's saying, because he got charged with state and federal charges, so Trump would only be able to pardon him on the federal charges.
Right.
So, I mean, I agree with pardoning him on the murder charges. I don't think he should be charged with murder, but maybe the civil rights, what was it? What did Grok say? Violating his civil rights. Maybe that one. I would need to be convinced a little bit more to get rid of that charge.
So there are a couple things that have been said that I find interesting. One is that he's looking at this from the perspective of all of the chaos that we've seen in the last, in the past 4 years or whatever, or just seeing the God, it's tough to find the words at the moment, but how everyone was like rioting and up in arms over it, like trying to wipe the slate clean of everything that was influenced by the terrorism in the streets or what have you, right? Is
Yeah.
that Joey?
Looks like we officially have Joey. He joined at the perfect time. It looks like he needs just a moment to figure things out. But
Well,
we'll get his thoughts in a moment.
the other thing that I was kind of thinking
Hmm.
is that like he shouldn't have been charged for murder, but if there was any charges that could have been brought by,
If you
like,
can hear me, I can't hear shit. So hold on.
We can hear you, Joey. But anyway, what were you saying? So yeah, maybe not the murder charges, but what do you think?
like if he is, they didn't apply like any sort of first aid when he's saying he can't breathe, or they didn't like call the ambulance or what have you
Yeah,
when he was in need of medical attention. And so if there were any charges related to not providing medical attention, I could see some sort of justification for that. But
maybe like criminal negligence or something.
something, yeah. But I still thinking back to it, and especially with the knee on the shoulder and not the neck. Being on the neck was just the propaganda narrative. Like, I yeah, I could
Well,
see.
he was doped up with fentanyl. I mean, the fentanol was likely going to kill him.
But so then why didn't they apply Narcan or whatever? Like, why
Yeah.
didn't they try to prevent his overdose?
No,
there's a level of negligence in that.
Yeah, I think there definitely should be some charges towards Derek Chauvin, but as far as murder, I can't get behind that one. I still don't. I'm still not convinced of that.
What do you think, Joey?
If he can hear us, he's trying to figure things out. I don't think he can hear us at the moment.
Now I can hear it. I forgot I had the site. Remember I have Rumble Studio on muted for when I use it.
Oh yeah.
Well,
you can hear us now though.
Yes.
Awesome. So right now we're just talking about. So Ben Shapiro came out with a video, and Elon Musk reacted to it, said something to think about. We just played the video. I'm assuming you missed it, but basically, Ben Shapiro was making the case for pardoning Derek Chauvin.
What are your initial thoughts?
I mean, they overcharged him, so yes.
Yeah, I mean that's what we were just talking about. Like he probably should have some charges, but I disagree with the murder charges. Just overall, and then but we do have some other stories. Unless you guys have anything else to add to that one.
Nope. I think it's going to be interesting to see how the narratives combat each other on Ben calling for this.
It got Elon Musk's attention, and he's Trump's right-hand man right now. So maybe Trump will make a statement on it.
Choosing the wrong camera. God, everything is just wrong today.
Look! You can't get everything right, Joey. Rumble Studio might be working, but that doesn't mean you are. Okay?
There we go. Now I'm
working. Look at that, much clearer.
Camera one.
Maybe I could reopen my blinds now. Let's experiment.
All right. Well, you caught us at the tail end of that story, so let's go ahead and we'll jump into the we'll talk about Zelensky some more. Let's talk about Zelensky. So let me pull up this next story. Panama. No, that's not Panama. There we go. So it looks like Zelensky is now ready for peace. Mineral deal with the U.S. is on the horizon. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has expressed readiness for peace negotiations with Russia following a pause in U.S. military aid to Ukraine. President Donald Trump Zelensky has called his recent meeting with Trump regrettable and indicated willingness to work under Trump's leadership for peace. The two countries are set to sign a minerals deal, which might be announced in Trump's speech to Congress. So we'll see more about that later tonight, likely. But my initial thoughts are Trump cut the funding and the aid, military aid to Ukraine, and he was like, "Oh crap, he actually did it. Let's get this peace going, guys."
Yeah, I think that he was always going to come back and sign this deal. Like, I don't know why he thought it was a good idea to stir up some conflict when he should have been signing the deal. But there's no way where, if the option is sign this deal or fight Russia without the U.S., that he's not signing the deal. Like, there's no possible alternative.
Yeah.
Please
I
help
mean,
Ukraine. We need help.
Oh, I do. Oh, wait. Here, I got a funny video we could pull up. So here, let me find it real quick. It is in my DMs. There was a funny video posted by Clown World about a woman. Let me see. Find it right here. Okay. Pull this up. All right. Let me transfer over to that one. And there we go. Okay. If you guys don't know who Clown World is, I'm sure all of you do. But so this woman. She transformed herself into Zelensky in solidarity, mental illness. So,
Oh, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
she actually did a pretty good job transforming herself into Zelensky. I mean, you can see the transformation. It doesn't look great as she's going into it, but by the end of it, she looks like Zelensky. So it's kind of funny. But no, I mean, Democrats are crazy. Like, I don't get this. Like, how can you have so much?
Well, how much of
behind
this
this guy.
is this TikToker just wanting, like, they probably do the, do the makeup to make themselves look like whoever they want to, and this isn't the one time that they've, this is kind of their niche.
There we go. Here, I'll pause it right there. I mean, look, she got it pretty damn close. I mean, that's
Yeah.
Trans Zelensky over here. A new gender just dropped.
It's already got an I at the end of the name, so it's like already feminine. If it was Spanish, I don't know.
Right?
I don't know which. Zelenska.
Yeah.
Oh, Zelenska.
But so the thing that's been confusing
What,
me
more money?
about
Damn, ho.
the thing that's been confusing me about this deal, the minerals deal, is that Zelensky's going to sign the minerals deal supposedly, but then he's also like negotiating with NATO to have boots on the ground, and like the U.S. wasn't a part of that conversation, and NATO.
Yeah, the UK and Canada got with Ukraine, and they were like,
they're
"Yeah, screw the United States,"
or something like that. Like, I feel like the two deals are like, one says let's end the war, the minerals deal, and one says let's increase tensions in the war and put more boots on the ground. Like, how do the two go side by side? Like, how do the two work together?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know what you guys think about the what do you guys think about Europe putting boots on the ground? I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think if they actually do it, we should leave NATO.
Well, we'd have to leave first, because if they put boots on the ground, World War III starts immediately. And according to some people, if you're in a treaty, you're obligated to follow through, or else you'll look weak. I don't really care about that aspect of it. If they put boots on the ground, we out. Like, this would be the third time that we get involved in a European conflict that we don't need to be involved in.
Yeah, and Tim Pool brings it up. I forget who said it initially. I don't want to quote them wrong, but I know Tim brings it up. Tim Pool. He brings it up a lot. You cannot promise the lives of the next generation. That's not how that works. Like, you make a treaty with someone or a defensive pact, be like, yeah, 40, 50 years from now, the kids of the next generation will go and fight that war for you. You can't promise that. Screw you. I ain't fighting nothing.
Zelensky would be like, we'll give you all Ukrainian women for more money.
Well, and then we
already don't have the men, so take women.
And I wonder, not only was the aid being cut off, but we also saw Russia talking about how, like, hey, if you guys don't want to do the mineral deal with Ukraine, you could always trade with us.
Like, that was kind of a wild twist as well.
I'm all for it.
No, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what's gonna happen with this, because it's just like just peace already. Can we have peace already? We have this statement from Zelensky earlier this morning. I'll go ahead and read this real quick. I would like to reiterate Ukraine's commitment to peace. None of us want an endless war. Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. Nobody wants peace more than Ukrainians. My team and I stand ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts. Oh, it's funny how he says Trump's strong leadership. It didn't seem like he agreed with that the other day. But
Trump's like, say my name. Say my name.
Say my name. Strong leader. Yes, yes. Kiss the boots. Kiss
You
the
got to
boots.
fluff him a little bit, right? Got to boost Trump's ego.
That's what everyone forgets. Like, Trump is so easy to convince. You just got to fluff his ego a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump is good man. I love Donald Trump.
And what else? What else do you love? Great leadership, right? Oh, great. He loves the great leadership, folks.
He says Trump's strong leadership. He has great leadership. The best leadership, some say.
Some say. I don't say it. Some say it.
But some say it, yes. He says, we are ready to work fast to end this war. And the first stages could be the release of prisoners and truce in the sky, ban on missiles, long-range drones, bombs and energy and other civilian infrastructure, and truce in the sea immediately. If Russia will do the same, then we want to move very fast all next stages and work with the United States to agree a strong final deal. We do really value how much Americans have done to help Ukraine maintain its sovereignty and independence. And we remember the moment when things changed, when President Trump provided Ukraine with javelins. For this, I like how he mentions that directly because Trump pointed it out.
I mean, right? That's just more fluffing. You know, that's more using Trump's own words to boost his ego. You know what I mean?
No, that is a direct fluff. That is a Go ahead.
Even in the whole argument that blew up, you could hear Zelensky like almost using slightly manipulative language, like at the end of every sentence that he was saying, where he was saying that like, oh yes, we want to end this war and the United States will make sure of that, or the United States will put a stop to Putin, or the United States will, he was adding the fact that you guys are going to end the war, or God, how do I word it? I don't know. If you look back and rewatch it, you can hear that he's trying to frame it as though we don't have a choice.
I mean, a lot of people took what he said as a threat because he said that if we don't deal with Russia, that we will feel it, and that really set Trump off. He's like, "Don't tell us what we're gonna feel."
It's like, excuse me.
I think it was a misstep for Zelensky to say that, but I also don't think that it's as it's fear mongering, if you will. If you don't help us, Russia's gonna come for you, and like. You don't know that, but you're going to still try and manipulate by creating that level of fear, and that's just more of that manipulation, subtle manipulation that he was doing throughout the whole interview.
Well, now, and like, I don't understand like what kind of flip flop this is. Like, you're talking to Europe about putting boots on the ground, and then here you are like, we're ready for peace. Like,
and maybe it's that, maybe best case scenario is that they're signing the peace deal. The minerals deal, and then the war's going to stop, and whatever new borders are drawn, and then we're there with minerals, and then they also have after the war is over, they have other boots on the ground that also is ensuring their protection. Maybe that's the additional security guarantees that he was talking about. I don't know, but it does seem counterintuitive to how these two things can take place at the same time.
I mean, I get why he's trying to get like other countries to send boots on the ground. I mean, do you know that I looked it up on I think it was on the stream yesterday. Do you know the average age of a Ukrainian soldier right now?
42.
It's like 42, 43, yeah.
That range, yeah.
Which like why is that, And according to Grok, I don't know how truthful Grok is. Some people trust Elon. But according to Grok, they are preventing 25 and under from going to the front lines, but that doesn't mean they're not seeing combat because Ukraine's not exactly a massive country. But they are trying to lessen the amount of deaths of their younger generation, at least.
They're like, please have sex. You are required to have sex once you turn 17.
Yeah, after this war, that's definitely going to be the direction they're heading.
I thought I heard someone at some point say that, like, the kids of the like rich are not being conscripted, so like they're allowing the
I wouldn't doubt it.
not to go while getting the older poor to go.
I mean, if Zelensky had kids, do you think that he'd be drafting his own children?
No.
Right.
How do you know I not have kid?
True. He could have some stashed away on his many yachts.
I might have kid. You don't know. Huh?
Yeah, seriously. Okay, well, let's get through the rest of the statement, and then our meeting in Washington. I just love that javelin statement, though. That's great. Our meeting in Washington at the White House on Friday did not go the way it was supposed to be. It is regrettable that it happened this way. It is time to make things right. We would like future cooperation and communication to be constructive. Excuse me. Regarding the agreement on minerals and security, Ukraine is ready to sign it in any time and any convenient format. We will see this. Oh, sorry, keep burping. We see this agreement as a step forward, greater security and solid security guarantees, and I truly hope it will work effectively. Yeah, he was talking about security guarantees and stuff like that. And what bigger security guarantee can you have than trading these things to the United States? I mean, we protect our assets. So if you have assets in Ukraine that are now ours, we will protect them.
We have many fine-looking assets, if that's what you're looking for.
Oh yeah, many fine assets, all the assets.
You talk about rare earth minerals.
Well, look, I think we should get all the minerals from Ukraine, and then we should open up trade with Russia too. Just get all the minerals, just get them all.
Dude, that would be wild if we signed the minerals deal with Ukraine and then also had a minerals deal with Russia, and we're just getting all of the minerals.
I think we should do. I think we should do it. And what's funny is what's called. I've made the joke a few times now. I think I made the joke on After Dark last night on the Timcast server. What would be really hilarious is if we had we ended up leaving NATO. Europe sends in their troops, and then we ally with Russia to go against them. And I've seen memes on Instagram, more than a few. I've seen more than a few memes now of what was it? Italy, the United States, and Russia going against Europe.
Listen, I got it all solved, okay? You know what we can do?
What's that?
Russia and the United States, we could divide Europe into two, and we can give Russia everything east of Berlin. What do you guys think?
I mean, hey, at this point, I'm becoming more anti-Europe. I mean, Joey, you even said it recently. Like, Europe just seems like the enemy at this point. Everything they're doing in terms of freedom of speech and internationally against the United States, I mean, they're looking more and more like an enemy than Russia does nowadays.
They do not align with our values. Like,
no,
they just don't. Guns, freedom of speech.
I mean, you look at it from that perspective, like who aligns more with our values. And I'm not saying that they exactly do, but Russia more aligns with our values as of lately than Germany or Europe does.
They believe in Christ as well. That's a big thing.
Well, Christ is king after all.
They don't believe in anything in Europe. Those sick heathenist people. We
got this from Rage Flowers. We require more minerals. Yes, we do. We do require all the minerals, especially with the semiconductor manufacturing that we're going to be having here in the United States. We need all of the materials.
All your materials
are belong. Oh, damn it!
Yes. Well played, Joey. Well played.
I've been trying to get that one out for like the last 5 minutes.
Sorry,
I just didn't want to interrupt.
You're both waiting for it. I'm sorry.
Like, all your minerals belong to me.
But let's see. We got a couple more stories we could talk about. So let's see. Which one you guys want to talk about next? You want to talk about BlackRock and the Panama, or you want to talk about the FBI?
BlackRock and the Panama sounds like a rock band.
BlackRock
and the Panama
concert.
Here, let's
hey
pull
man, we're
up.
BlackRock in the Panama, and we just want to send a shout out to all the lovely ladies out there. Rock and roll, man.
I do want to learn about the Panama.
All right, let's pull this one up. So, as many of you know, the Panama Canal has been a topic of discussion because the United States built the Panama Canal and we gave it away for free, essentially. And now we are trying to regain control of that. So there's a new deal that's making the rounds on X. So it looks like the Panama Canal ports were sold to BlackRock in a major deal. CK Hutchison, a Hong Kong-based conglomerate, has agreed to sell its controlling interest in two major ports near the Panama Canal to a consortium led by BlackRock. The sale, worth approximately $22.8 billion. I mean, we all know BlackRock has the money. Comes amidst pressure from the former U.S. President Donald Trump to reduce Chinese influence in Panama. The transaction not only changes the operational control of these key maritime assets, but also marks a significant expansion of BlackRock's global infrastructure portfolio. So I know a lot of people don't like BlackRock because of their purchasing of a lot of major housing developments and other stuff in the United States. But TJ Rainman and I talked about this a little bit before going live. But is it better that BlackRock has it, or is it better that if China were to regain it? What do you guys think?
Well, so I don't necessarily think
What's the
that.
difference?
I don't think that with BlackRock owning it, it is now under U.S. control. BlackRock seems to be something that operates at a global level and not a, country level. You know what I mean? And so I do sort of feel like it is still in the hands of the enemy. So, why is it going to a private company and not to like the U.S. government or something like that?
I mean, that's definitely fair. I mean, I think the United States should have control over the Panama Canal. We shouldn't have ever gotten rid of it.
What kind of stupid shit is this though? If like that happens and BlackRock owns it, like if Kamala becomes president in 4 years, they're just going to let China use it then.
Yeah, I mean,
China can use it, but they got to
you know what I mean. Like they're going
to and whatnot, right?
BlackRock has no loyalty to a country.
That's what I'm saying.
These are mercenaries. These are like you talk about the Illuminati, BlackRock, State Street, those fucking places.
Illuminati foot soldiers.
I mean, they're basically like they're almost like the Don. They're like one level below.
Well, so we have this from Mario Knopfel. BlackRock seizes Panama Canal ports and they say 19 billion, but the thread said 22. Not that it matters, a few billion here or there. BlackRock doesn't care.
Well, sorry, real quick. Like Elon bought Twitter for 44 billion. Could he have instead bought the entire fucking Panama Canal?
Well,
was it always for sale?
No, well, because this is just a few ports, like major ports at the Panama Canal. So I don't know if this is like the entire Panama Canal, but maybe, right? Throw another 20 billion on top. Maybe you do have the whole canal.
Hey, Elon, buy the Panama Canal instead. Fuck it.
Fuck it, yeah. So BlackRock, the world's top money manager, is acquiring two key Panama Canal ports, Balboa and Cristobal. I probably said that wrong. And it says in the $19 billion deal again. The acquisition secures control of... so it's only 40% of the canal's container traffic. So Trump has long claimed China runs the canal and vowed to take it back. Now BlackRock moves effectively does it for him. I don't know about that. I don't know if BlackRock's not exactly working for Trump.
This is going to be a blind spot from... I could just feel it, like those large companies like BlackRock. He's going to get fooled by their, we're not doing DEI anymore. I hope I'm wrong, but...
And then they changed the name of it.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be like...
Has the Panama Canal always been under, like, a private company's control? Like, I'm confused on the logistics of it. Like, he says China has it, but is it just some China business that bought the rights to operate in the ports? Or how does the structure of ownership actually work? How has it worked?
That is a good question. I actually don't know the answer to that. As far as I know, we built it, we controlled it, and then we sold it to Panama for like $1, literally.
Our government owned it.
Our government owned it, and then we gave it to the Panama government. So whatever they did after that, I'm not sure.
Shocking. More charity from the United States.
The United States loves its charity. That's why we have the U.S. aid, right, or USAID. We love giving charity. We need the Iraqi Muppets show and all the other things, But
every paycheck, I give 10% of my paycheck to charity.
Oh, yeah.
If she's not there, I give 10% to Destiny.
Hey, well, hopefully not the streamer.
Yeah, what kind of Destiny? What Destiny are we talking about?
Those are names, my friend. All right.
Okay. And then or it looks like there's another tweet here. So it looks like Panama Attorney General, Chinese port deal unconstitutional. Trump warns of China canal influence. Panama's attorney general declared the Hong Kong firm CK Hutchison's control of two key Panama Canal ports unconstitutional, backing a lawsuit to nullify the contract. The firm, owned by billionaire La Ka-shing, what the hell, has run the ports since 1997, with 25-year renewal in 2021. Trump has warned that China is effectively operating the canal and threatened to take it back. Panama has also announced an audit of the firm's operations. Supreme Court is set to rule on the case. When is this from? I think this is an
Panama Canal is owned by Sorry, I looked this up.
It's like a
1903, the United States gains rights to build and manage the Panama Canal. 1914, the Panama Canal opened under U.S. administration. 1977, of course, Jimmy Carter would be the one to do this. Treaties are signed between U.S. and Panama. The treaty outlines the gradual transfer of the canal to Panama for some strange reason. 1979, the Panama Canal Zone is officially abolished as a U.S. territory. December 31st, 1999, full ownership and control of the Panama Canal are transferred to Panama. So I guess they could just be like, you want our land? Take. I don't know why they're Russian, but.
Well, we've got a good comment from Killen. How do you say that? Killen it sense?
Killing it. I don't know. I call him Killenstein. He's gonna have to deal with it.
Killenstein. Okay. Well, so he's got a theory here. BlackRock purchases Panama Canal. U.S. attempts to seize control of the Panama Canal. BlackRock refuses and shuts it down. And then China backs BlackRock over the canal. China regains control. I mean, yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Like we were talking about, BlackRock, I mean, necessarily doesn't have any. Ties. They don't have any loyalties to the United States at the end of the day. They're all about seizing control and making money. So,
welcome, Gino.
I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that happen.
But it does feel shady, and I don't trust BlackRock and the fact that
should you.
How easily BlackRock is able to strike a deal with China when China you would expect to be like, no, we ain't giving this up to nobody. It feels shady.
And then let me see. We've got about 8 minutes left, but we'll cover this briefly because it affects me directly. You guys need to help me here. Looks like friggin' Gavin Newsom has decided to hire all the federal workers that Donald Trump is firing.
So what positions?
Good question. Gavin Newsom has issued an executive order to hire former federal workers after they were fired by the Trump administration. So what does it say? Executive Department of State of California, executive order. Looks like has more than. I'm gonna have to read this whole thing.
But you know what? Throw it into Grok.
This is so silly because the whole bad part about having these workers there was that they were deep state layovers that were causing shit to move slowly or not to happen or information doesn't get to where it needs to go. And is he just signing them as he's going to sign them like this is like sports or something, like a charity case?
Yeah, I mean, and what's called Nick Sortor has got a good point. So Gavin Newsom wants bottom of the barrel employees to do his dirty work in California. Sounds about right.
Yeah, just more foot soldiers for him.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, all the corrupt people that weren't doing anything in government, get them over here.
Well, it almost sounds like he's wanting to create a shadow government kind of thing, I feel like. Like if you're taking people from all of these different departments and all of these different, all of these different departments and you're bringing them all in, it's like you're wanting the evil people to form.
Yeah. Well, and then I had Grok summarize it like when you guys suggested. Gavin Newsom's executive order aims to hire former federal workers fired by the Trump administration, focusing on roles in firefighting, forest management, and weather forecasting to bolster California's emergency response capabilities. Interesting.
Hey, well, at least we're getting some people doing some forest management out in California.
Well, did you guys see that the fire chief, the female fire chief that there was some controversy around that was in charge of the Palisades? She was murdered by her wife.
What?
Yeah, that was a story. It was actually on my birthday that it happened, February 20th.
That's pretty freaking weird.
Interesting, right? And I don't know if they ever found the wife because they were searching for her. So just an interesting little tidbit to add to California's craziness. But so let's see what else Grok says here. The order issued on March 3rd, 2025. So that was yesterday. response to the recent federal workforce reductions under Trump, as a federal judge ruled on February 28th, 2025, the mass firings of probationary federal employees were likely unlawful. It also mandates state agencies to update hybrid telework policies to require at least 4 days per week in office by July 1st, 2025, to strengthen public service delivery and address employment needs. So even Gavin Newsom recognizes that people need to be in the office to do work.
I thought that's like insensitive to like people's feelings and stuff.
Oh, it definitely hurts my feelings. It hurts the feeling in my legs having to get up out of this chair.
The hypochondriacs that are like, I'm gonna get sick. There's that new super duper COVID flu thing going around.
You have no idea how many people still wear masks in California. It's absolutely crazy.
I think I have a pretty good clue being in New York.
Thankfully, I haven't seen as many people wearing masks in their cars anymore, but it does still happen.
The tinted
Listen,
windows.
I can't take a chance of breathing my air from yesterday, okay?
You're literally in a tuna can with people and you're wearing a mask. But my favorite ones are when you're by yourself in your car and you're wearing your mask. Just recycling those germs.
You know what? Maybe they're just wearing the mask because they're working on their cardio. Like they just want to restrict their breath and train their body to feel what it feels like to have less air.
Yeah, I tried going to the gym during COVID and wearing a mask, and I can't. It restricts my breathing way too much. Yeah, I was even wearing like a super thin one. What was funny is my mom has a custom made mask. It's basically like chainmail, and it's not an actual mask, but no one ever said anything to her. So I should have got one of those. That's what I should have been wearing. But so we got about 5 minutes left. We can go over a little bit if that's cool with you guys. But we'll talk about this last story here. So FBI's New York chief resigns amid Epstein document controversy. James Dennehy, the head of the FBI's New York field office, has resigned following allegations that his office withheld thousands of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Attorney General Pam Bondi announced the delivery of a truckload of Epstein files to the FBI for review, aiming to investigate the reasons behind the withholding and ensure transparency. The documents include sensitive materials like flight logs and redacted address books, highlighting issues of governmental oversight and transparency in high-profile cases. Now, I talked about this with some people last night, and basically their argument was, because I believe that the important information is already gone. I don't think we're going to see it. But the argument that I heard was that, no, they did keep all this information because they're still trying to use it to blackmail the people that they have dirt on. But sure. I just don't know, because if it like Trump gets into office and he's trying to clamp down on corruption, would you really keep all that incriminating evidence that would get you in trouble?
So, you know what? That's a fair point that I never considered. That why would they, if they got rid of their blackmail, then these people they have blackmail and all of a sudden wouldn't have to vote the way that they want them to because the blackmail doesn't exist. So perhaps they do still have these files somewhere. I just don't know if it would be at the FBI's headquarters in New York.
And that was the point.
It'd probably be on like a fucking secret island.
Well, what's more damning? The information, like what would you get as the person holding the evidence? What would you get in more trouble for? Are you implicated in it, or would you like destruction of federal documents or whatever, unauthorized destruction of federal documents or something like that? I'm sure comes with a hefty fucking penalty. Yeah. And so if you're the person who has the evidence and you aren't implicated in it, do you risk your own jail time by destroying the evidence?
They probably have Patsy set up for this, like, people who are like brainwashed that they're down for the cause and then they get dropped in an instant. Like, most of the left.
And then Joey brought up an excellent point. And that's the point that I made. Like, okay, sure, maybe they kept this information to continue to blackmail people. There's no way in hell that it's at that office. There's no way they kept it there. Like, let's say that it's still there, or let's say that it still exists and it wasn't destroyed. It's definitely not at that office anymore.
It's probably on an island. Island that begins with an E.
How much of the evidence is physical and how much is digital?
There's that too, and we just don't know, right? We do know that Epstein did record almost all of his conversations with everybody, so that would be digital, unless they had hard copies of it. But I don't know. We just don't know, and hopefully Pam Bondi can get to the bottom of it. I try not to be black-pilled on this. Usually I'm pretty white-pilled on things, but in case of the Epstein stuff, it's been 5 years, nothing's happened. I think all the hard evidence is gone at this point. This is the only thing
Bondi keeps promising. She keeps promising. I don't know. There's no need for her to double down on these promises. So she must really feel like she's going to have it, but we'll see.
Yeah,
I'm
I get the vibe that her and Cash are like. I mean, this person resigning just it feels like an admission of guilt, and it feels like, all right, I'm the one who fucked up and was hiding shit, so I'm out. Here you go, fucking take it. I lost. You guys won.
Well, it says that he was forced to resign, and he was basically not told why. But I mean,
You know it
do
was
you
you.
really need a reason? Do you really need to be told why? Like you're in charge of the Epstein stuff. It's been 5 years. Like that's reason enough. Get the hell out.
I
But
want. I wonder if like what do you think would be better or worse for the globalists to have these Epstein files come out and see who's actually a sick pedophile, or if they just say, all right, let's destroy all the documents, lose our blackmail, and these people just vote how they vote. And like I think destroying the blackmail would probably be better for them, because if like it comes out that like let's say, I don't know, let's be kind with the number and say 25% of all of Congress is fucking sick blackmail pedos, like
at
you
least,
have
right?
to arrest all of them, right? And then you have to reelect all of them. So it might just be easier for them to say, okay, we're going to destroy everything. And if they vote, if they feel like the cuffs are off and they're just going to vote the way they want now that there's no blackmail on them, then that might just be something that's necessary.
I mean, that sounds similar to the Border Patrol agents that willingly sent children to the human traffickers that were abusing them. It's like, well, like if we clamp down on it, then there's all this other stuff that we'd have to fix and deal with. And it's like, it's better to just keep it going. Just let the system work the way it's working.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, I know which one. I want all of them to be arrested. I want that chaos,
yeah,
bro.
I don't care what the political system looks like after this stuff gets exposed. I don't care if Donald Trump himself is like one of the most egregious actors. I want it out in the open, and I want people to face consequences.
Absolutely.
He's like, listen, it was
Let it all blow up and let the cards fall where they may.
Yeah.
Rebuild from the ground up.
Trump's gonna be
like, you don't understand. She was built different.
No, that's bad, Joey, bad.
She looked like Melania. No.
It was a younger Melania. I had to. She said it was the biggest. No, not everyone says it, but she said it.
She said it was okay. She's like, I understand, Donald. No.
Okay,
Oh, jeez.
Skating the line here. No.
It was a little bit. It's okay. We're Tyler Today Live skates the line. Maybe we'll just go Rumble exclusive if YouTube decides to take me down. It's okay.
Yeah, we were very clever, I think.
No, I think we worded it just fine. But do we have any closing thoughts on the FBI stuff? As far as my closing thoughts, I hope to see all of the evidence. I hope none of it was destroyed, and I hope they were just withholding it, trying to hold out that Pam Bondi gets bored and goes and does something else. But we'll see, right?
I think that a lot of it still exists. Maybe not all of it, but I feel like a majority of it still exists. And I have faith that the people who we now have in charge are blowing up the system the way that we wanted them to, and that it will come out. It's just a matter of, fighting this war against the corrupt to actually follow through with the objective.
Mad Stork has an update on the fire chief thing. Holy crap! The fire chief's wife already murdered someone previously in 2003.
Wait, what? Oh, here, let me pull that up. We'll talk about that briefly. Yeah, wait, before we move to that, I'll pull that up. But do you have any closing statements on the Epstein stuff, Joey?
No, but I will say Mad Stork will join me on Nightcap later, apparently, according to the conversation we had yesterday. So,
okay, well, I look forward to seeing that.
I just have to announce this everywhere because it's important. Nightcap will start at about 12:55 today Eastern time, because I am a Luka Doncic fan and watched the Laker game. So sorry.
And for everyone in the chat, we got 11 Rumble viewers. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not already a part of Joey's stuff, go check him out. And I have him down in the description. It should be in the description. Outworld Live. But let me pull up this one from Mad Stork. Holy crap! The fire chief's wife had already murdered someone previously in 2003. I'll have to look that up. That'd be crazy. Then you had another one. The entire murder of the police chief. I think you mean fire chief. The entire murder of the fire chief, I believe, was caught on a Ring camera. I'm gonna have to look that up. I wonder if that's public.
Crazy. What, are you gonna start posting snuff films to Rumble now?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Tyler's gonna be like, join Tyler Today News as we watch along a Serbian film.
we're gonna watch the fire chief get stabbed to death, and
Crazy, man.
And next we're gonna watch
crazy
Derek
time we're
Chauvin
living in.
knee on George Floyd.
oh jeez.
Okay.
Looks like Mad Stork posted a link to an NBC article about it, so I'll have to check that out after this. But anyway, thank you both of you for tuning in for the second ever Tyler Today Live. You guys were my first ever guest. So if you guys want to shout anything out, where to follow you guys, if you got an X account or whatever.
Go ahead,
you go first. Sorry, no. You were here first.
Look at us just being so gentlemanly. All right.
Hello.
I thought we were nemesis, right? But here we are being gentlemanly. All I got, it really is an X account. I hang out in the Timcast Discord. They know me there as TJ Rainman. On X, it's my name, Tarek Rains, TerakRaines. And yeah, let's yell at leftists together.
I just like to say we have a code word for that Discord. We just say that Discord we frequent because we don't want to say names. We don't want them to be associated with our evilness.
Oh, is that so?
Now, I'm going to actually, if Tyler went 20 more minutes, he could have rated me. But until then, I'm going to burp in my hand and then go to your Rumble page where I'm going to cut. Well, that's not working. We're not doing well, folks. We're not doing well.
I'm sorry, Joey. I ran out of stories. I might have
today.
a few.
Here he is. Let's click on him. Clicking on the stream. Just got to learn to riff, man. Here. The show thing is already up. You can click there and wait in there until I'm ready. I gotta eat food first.
That's what I was gonna do. I was gonna go make some food first. I haven't eaten yet today. But again, thank you guys for joining me today. Thank you to the audience. Go ahead and go hang out at Outworld Live. I believe I'm joining you over there, aren't I, Joey?
Yes, you are, because I had a dropout. Mr. Flair said he was not up to it today. So, well, looks like you're gonna have to talk about video games with me.
Sounds good. I love talking about video games. So you guys will catch me over there. And again, thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, this is live every day during the week, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And thank you guys for tuning in. Peace out.
Hanging out. See ya.